Behind a good man is a good woman, and it's certainly true in my case. And my wife is going to come, who's also a captain in the Salvation Army, and she's going to give us a pause for thought.
I'd like to share a Bible reading with you this evening, and this is a Bible reading from John's Gospel, John chapter 4, and it's verses 4 to 14. Now he had to go through Samaria, so he came to a town in Samaria called Sychar, near the plot of ground Jacob had given to his son Joseph. Jacob's well was there, and Jesus, tired as he was from the journey, sat down by the well. It was about the 6th hour, when a Samaritan woman came to draw water. Jesus said to her, "Will you give me a drink?" His disciples had gone into the town to buy food. The Samaritan woman said to him, "You are a Jew, and I am a Samaritan woman. How can you ask me for a drink? For Jews do not associate with Samaritans." Jesus answered her, "If you knew the gift of God, and who it is that asks you for a drink, you would have asked him, and he would have given you living water." "Sir," the woman said, "you have nothing to draw with, and the well is deep. Where can you get this living water? Are you greater than our father Jacob, who gave us the well and drank from it himself, as did also his sons and his flocks and his herds?" Jesus answered, "Everyone who drinks this water will be thirsty again, but whoever drinks the water I give him will never thirst. Indeed, the water I give him will become in him a spring of water, welling up to eternal life." Now, we got an email on Friday giving us a weather warning from Avon and Somerset County. They wanted to let the Salvation Army know that there's going to be a heat wave in a couple of days. They've issued us with a weather warning, and they want us to try and let as many people know as possible to drink plenty of water and to stay out of the sun. They need to give us these warnings, don't they? Because we know how to deal with rain in Britain. We know how to deal with too much rain. We know how to deal with too much wind. We know how to deal with all sorts of weather, but we don't know how to deal with too much sun, do we? We're not used to too much sun. Now, in hot countries, they know about the sun. They know how to manage it. They know how dangerous it can be. And they know not to go out at midday. But here we have a story about people in a hot country who are going out at midday to draw water. Nobody goes out at midday unless they have to in a hot country. And this woman was going out at midday because she had to. She had to go and get her water from the well then, because nobody else in the town would have found her acceptable. If she'd gone out earlier in the day to draw water, she would have been given quite a hard time because she was unacceptable. There was only one person in the world who would have given this woman any time. And one day, that person was sat down at the well, waiting for her to arrive. The only person in the world who found her acceptable. Now, Jesus did a lot of work out of doors. We hear, don't we, about stories about him feeding the 5,000 and all that kind of thing. Doing a lot of work on mountains, teaching and meeting with people. But here we've got a story about him meeting with just one person, sitting down and having a conversation at the well. He knew all about her already, and he did something that nobody else would ever have done. He asked her to help him. And in doing this, what Jesus is offering to this woman is acceptance. He recognised that she still had value, that she had something to give. And then the conversation moves on, and Jesus offers her something else. He says, "You've given me a drink of water on a hot day. Now let me tell you about something better. Let's call it living water." And if you read on in the story, the woman jumps at it. She jumps at the chance. She thinks, wouldn't it be great if I didn't have to come here in the middle of the day to draw water? If you could give me some of this special, everlasting water, and I wouldn't have to come here anymore, and I wouldn't have to face this problem that I've got to face. I could run away from this situation forever. But what Jesus offers to her, and what Jesus offers to us, is something better. Not an escape from reality, but the strength to face it and the strength to change it. The strength that comes from a real relationship with God. A God who always finds us acceptable even when nobody else does. A God that goes ahead of us into the most difficult situations that we've got to face and meets us there. This woman meets Jesus at the well and her whole life is changed. Instead of having to avoid other people, she can go back into the town, she can meet them and she can say, look, you've got to come and listen to this man that I've met. Listen to what he has to say. Her whole life is changed through one conversation with Jesus at midday at a well. Now, I've got some lovely water here with me. I've drunk a bit of it this afternoon. I was trying to keep it till the sermon, but I've drunk a little bit of it. And I'm sure Avon and Somerset County would approve of the fact that I've got my bottle of water with me. There's nothing better on a hot day than a really cold glass of water. This water makes all sorts of claims. It can do amazing things for us. And they tell me that if you drink enough water, it delays the aging process. So there we go, there's something else that water can do for you. But there's one thing that this bottle of water can't do for us. It can't give us eternal life, can it? It can't give us eternal life, however ever refreshing it might be. But what Jesus has to offer to each one of us today, we'll call it living water, goes much deeper. And if we accept his offer, then one day it'll carry us all the way to heaven. God bless you.